ships of ISKCON, Sri Jagannath Mandir, Baldeva Prabhu ki jai, Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Lord Jagannath ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai, Panch Tattva ki jai, Lord Parashurama ki jai, Lord Vaman Dev ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai. Okay, we will say our prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Guru Parampara ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Okay, we are in chapter 10 and it's shloka 10.38 today. So this is Lord Krishna explaining to Arjuna his various opulences, and today we'll be discussing 4 opulences. One second. Dando damavatam asmi nitirasmi jigishatam maunam chauvasmi goyanam jnanam jnanavatam aham. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of the wise, I am the wisdom. So these are the 4 opulences which Krishna is emphasizing, that they represent him. Krishna has many multifarious, there's so many opulences, vibhutis. So, purport. So His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu has beautifully explained these 4 opulences, and so dando damavatam asmi. So danda is punishment, damavatam of all means of suppression, and gami is I am. Asmi is I am. So there are many suppressing agents, of which the most important are those that cut down miscreants, because when miscreants are punished, the agency of chastisement, that represents Lord Krishna. So damavatam is to suppress, to control, to bring person or people on the right track. And there are many ways to achieve that. There are many ways to bring people on right track. And the strongest among these is danda. It is very good and usually preferred. It is very good and usually preferred or first choice if if we can convince people or a group of people or person by giving good advice and wise counseling. But there might be instances when that doesn't work. We start with that and that doesn't work. And sometimes it is necessary, when it doesn't work, that the last resort is punishment or danda. And throughout our history, known history, and all cultures across the world, we have seen that, we have read about it, and so many movies have been made, that some strong means of punishment or jails or some other places of reformation were there then, and they continue to exist now. That danda is the last resort of punishing people, and Krishna says that I am that danda. So we have often heard in our Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita and various other lectures by acharyas, that when a king punishes a miscreant, could be a death sentence, depending on the severity of the sin or crime committed, or could be some other form of reformation. When a king punishes, then it is kind of mercy on that miscreant, because we know that there is a system which exists. We know about system of karma. That person has to suffer for those sins, and in this life, things which the person committed in the previous life, or things which he committed in this life. But then if the pile of sins is there, that person takes that quota of sins suffering with him in the next life. So sometimes we see in so many news, um, sometimes in news coverage, we see that a person suffered so and so, and we often wonder why this person has to suffer so much in this life, or such a severe thing the person suffered. um, we have so many such today's news channels covering such things. And but anybody who's well versed with the scriptures, he knows that there is a system, and this is part of our subtle body. We carry it with us, all our desires and karma, or the quota of sins. And so that is how it is. But there's more detail to it, and we don't know that much detail, how and when it happens. But we know that there is such thing as um, bija, kuta, prarabdha, aprarabdha. So we have that. So when a king punishes that, it's actually mercy. So when a person takes his next birth, he is free of that sin, of that suffering, or that quota reduces. So that person has to suffer so much in the future, and this makes it difficult for him to, you know, practice righteousness, maybe in future, or take up bhakti in future, which kind of gets difficult. Although bhakti is independent of anything, but if person doesn't have that sin, or doesn't have such desire to commit such sins, there is possibility that he can achieve that state of goodness easily. He can be in that guna of goodness, sattva state. So, but here it doesn't mean that Krishna wants to give punishment to everyone. That is not the intention. That is not the meaning of this verse. Here, the vibhuti of Krishna, which is talked about and emphasizes that which is most powerful, most attractive, most influential among various manifestations. So, danda is a forceful way of making a point when it can't be achieved by any other way. Okay, the next one is Nitir Asmi Jigisatam. So niti means morality, asmi means I am, jigishatam, of those who seek victory. Among those who are trying to be victorious in some field of activity, the most victorious element is morality. So victory can be, in a worldly sense, victory can be achieved in many ways. But when morality is practiced, then that represents Krishna. Victory achieved by practicing morality, that represents Krishna. So Jigishatam means that those who seek victory are morality. It is said that everything is fair in love and war. So we have heard this verse, but Lord Krishna doesn't approve of this. Krishna says that victory should be obtained by victorious means. So His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu has mentioned, came across this by Srila Prabhupada, has also mentioned it somewhere in one quotes. There are three kinds of niti: Brihaspati niti, Shukra niti, and Kanika niti. So Brihaspati niti is choose good means and good ends. So strive for good ends by good means. Shukra niti, it is as long as ends are good, means don't really matter. Kanaka niti is don't care about ends, don't care about means, just strive for your own protection, pleasure, and power. So Kanika was a Brahmana friend of Shakuni. So we know Shakuni from um, Mahabharata, uncle of Kauravas, uncle of Duryodhana. So when enemies are doing, so sometimes when enemies are doing Shukraniti, sometimes we have to do that Shato Shatayam. So, but here best is Brihaspati Niti. And so Krishna says, so this Shato Shatayam is something like, if someone is being barbaric with you, then you can't win on the grounds of preaching or practicing Vedic or human values with him or to him. So that barbarian might think you are actually weak and might continue to he might win. He might our existence would be diminished. We would so we have in our history of our country also, we have had some barbaric rulers come and plunder our country, and when kings took so much time because they were so much involved in sense gratification, but then those who stepped up against it, they were victorious, although a lot of damage was already done. So this is more like tit for tat, or that kind of situation. But Brahaspati's Niti is the best. So Krishna says that those who achieve victory by victorious means, they represent his this particular vibhuti of his. And so the third one is Maunam Chevasmi Goyanam. Maunam is silence, Cha and Eva, also Gami, I am, Goyanam of secrets. So the best way to keep secret is to maintain silence. So among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is most important, because by silence one can make progress very quickly. So that is the value of silence. And this is representative of Krishna, his vibhuti. Jnanam, jnanavatam aham. Jnanam, knowledge. Jnanavatam, of the wise. Aham, I am. So what distinguishes wise is the wisdom. That wisdom which makes wise people attractive is vibhuti, or opulence of Krishna. So the wise man is he who can discriminate between matter and spirit, between God's superior and inferior natures. Such knowledge is Krishna himself. So, so this wisdom, also known as viveka, this is something. So Krishna says that he is intelligence. So this, when with in our life, when we gain through our experience and practice, um, applying intelligence in throughout our life, or those instances, this is viveka is something we build over time with all our experiences. Wherever we were able to apply intelligence in different situations, we might take different steps. So this viveka, uh, wisdom, is something which we build over time with our experience, and intelligence is Krishna himself. So so this is representative of um, so this wisdom which makes wise people attractive is opulence of Krishna, vibhuti of Krishna. So this particularly this third, where we talk about silence, I just want to talk about. So what how is it that in ISKCON we are preaching, and in preaching movement, how silence can be a golden virtue? That's not how it is. So this in English we have heard this term, silence is a golden virtue. So golden here is kind of emphasizing that it is highly desirable in a worldly sense. So Maunam Vrata, we know that devotees, or we have had yogis keep this vrata of maintaining Maunam, silence, not to speak. But Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, this movement of Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Kirtaniya Sadahari. So Kirtan, when we talk about Kirtan, we are talking about not maintaining silence. We are talking about glorifying the Lord. So one should glorify Lord Krishna by loud singing, dancing, and performing Kirtana. Chaitanya Charitamrita talks about it. Udanda Kirtana, uproarious Kirtana. So His Holiness Bhakti Bhakti Vikas Maharaj has given this description. Um, by maintaining silence, one does not reveal his mind. However, this is in regard to when it is not related to Krishna in a material sense, in a worldly sense. But when it comes to speaking or glorifying Krishna, we choose always to glorify Krishna. So in that case, not speaking is golden, else in a material sense, else glorifying, getting an opportunity to glorify the Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his qualities is always superior. So this is like why this comes is like in mystic or Mayavadi traditions, not talking is considered spiritual because they don't know, they don't have any positive information about Krishna consciousness. They don't believe in, they choose not to believe. So that social pressure is there. Otherwise we have the social pressure of speaking. So curtaining that, not speaking in that case, maintaining silence in a worldly sense is good. But when it comes to glorifying Lord Krishna, we always choose to always glorify Krishna. So for such people, it is important to maintain silence, material people, because they don't have tendency to speak about Krishna. They don't have that knowledge. So generally speaking, people, when they speak about something, it is about furthering their aim of appearing or extending their existence or their material existence in this material world, and continue, they try to achieve happiness by that means. So that is their intention. We also know that people sometimes speak deliberately to boost their ego or to denigrate others, and they think that by punishing others, by pushing others down, they enhance their position. So there are some people who are attention seekers and they want to be life and soul of the party. So that is a very material thing. So that is something not um, liked in Vaishnava philosophy. So making sounds which are mundane is worthless, it is not fruitful, and but something which elevates our consciousness to God or Lord Krishna. And when we get that constantly, we get that opportunity to glorify the Lord, it is very desirable. So and other places, so other places also, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that Jara dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesha. And so to glorify the, wherever you get an opportunity, always speak or glorify the Lord, speak about Lord Krishna, preach it to others. So Srila Prabhupada has also emphasized that a fool goes unnoticed until he opens his mouth, because a fool will talk nonsense. And Srila Vyasadeva has given so much of vast literatures, scriptures, to understand and glorify the absolute truth, Lord Shri Krishna. Here also in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is speaking, explaining it to Arjuna. So silence means to stop talking nonsense, but speaking about topics related to Krishna is always superior. That's the best. So I've also come across a very interesting story, which is kind of sets you thinking. I heard this in Gita Gyan class and in Bhakti Shastri class also, which is kind of sets you thinking. It's different from the norm we come across. So there's this Brahmana who's sitting and practicing what a Brahmana does. He's meditating and doing his he's on his daily course of routine, and he's practicing, and he took a vow of maintaining a silence. So he's sitting there and he sees a cow in a very bad condition, in disturbed condition, uh, pass him and runs into a forest nearby. And he sees that he doesn't do anything, and then after a few minutes he sees that a butcher or a man comes asking, running, and he asks if he has seen the cow, and he points it to that direction. So sorry, and he maintains, he asks, and this butcher goes into that direction. And so he had taken a vow not to speak, and he didn't he could have misguided or told that it's in another direction, because he knew that the cow will be hurt. So he thought about it, and um, so he practiced truthfulness in that case. And so I think that so what we were told, that this guy, this Brahmana, actually went to hell for that activity. So so that's not really desirable in those cases. And so that was a grave sin, because a cow was hurt by such a practice. So that is a very different from the norm, but it sets you thinking. But otherwise, these are the four vibhutis of Lord Krishna. So these four things, these opulences or vibhutis, in Sanskrit also termed as vibhuti yoga. So these are discussed here, and which are indicative of some prominent manifestation or certain activity, and they represent Lord Krishna. So I think there are more vibhuti such discussions, which we will get to know tomorrow. So I thank you, Matajis and Prabhudis. Thanks for joining. Please continue to join, and for shloka recitation and chanting session. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.